Grow your career with a Master of Agribusiness degree from Kansas State University. Using the latest technology in distance education, we strive to deliver a world-class degree to a global audience in the food, animal health, and agriculture industries. We are dedicated to ensuring flexibility throughout the program, offering completion from anywhere and a variety of course schedules to work on your time. We focus on having a direct connection to the current professional landscape with industry experienced instructors preparing coursework with immediate applicability. During the 2.5-year program, you will have the opportunity to network with your fellow classmates to build professional connections around the world. 3 start dates are offered at multiple campus locations. Learn more about the award-winning program and find out how to apply by contacting us today.
Well, thanks for joining us for our Agri-Pulse Washington Week interview. I'm Spencer Chase, along here with Agri-Pulse Senior Editor Phil Brasher, discussing the week that was, agriculturally speaking, in Washington, D.C. And as it was the last couple of months, this week all about trade, specifically Trade Promotion Authority. Saw some action on the floor of the Senate this week and saw some kind of confusing action, to be totally honest with you. We had a vote to continue discussion on the bill on Tuesday evening, a cloture vote as it is termed, and didn't go through, to the surprise of a lot of people, I think, including the White House. And so in between, we're filming this on a Thursday night, Phil, in between that cloture vote on Tuesday and another cloture vote that was successful today on Thursday, what happened?
Well, on Tuesday, there was a key procedural vote in order to allow debate on the fast-track TPA bill. This is the bill to allow fast-track new trade agreements. A key group of 13 Democrats, pro-trade Democrats, in the Senate got together and said, okay, we are not going to vote to allow the TPA bill to move until we get assurance that the Senate Republican leadership is also going to move a entirely separate bill, in trade enforcement bill. Has a number of provisions. It actually has broad support in the Senate, although it also has a critical provision that's a problem for the White House to deal with currency manipulation, which is a big issue with a number of members of the Senate as well as the House. We got that out of the way. We got that out of the way quickly on Wednesday when the Republican leadership said, "Okay, we will allow a vote on that, and then we will go back to the TPA bill." So today we had first a vote on the enforcement bill that passed 78-20, and then we went to the key vote that we've been waiting for, and that's on the fast track bill. The 13 Democrats all voted for that motion. It needed 60 votes to pass so that they could move forward with the bill. There were 65 votes, five votes to spare, 52 Republicans and the 13 Democrats. That Democratic support is important, not just to get the bill moving in the Senate, but it also will provide some significant momentum for this bill as it heads eventually over to the House.
And you mentioned the 65 votes, a veto-proof margin is 67, but a veto-proof margin doesn't really apply here. The White House is very much so behind this bill, so they're not too concerned about getting to that 67. But those 65 votes that they got on cloture today, they're going to be discussing this bill all next week. The open amendment process that we hear so much about is going to come into full play here. We'll see how very open that process is, if they're all germane, so to speak. But those 65 votes and the 13 Democrats especially, do you think that cloture vote is a good indication of what we can expect for a vote on final passage of Trade Promotion Authority?
It probably is. I can see a few Republicans dropping off because they held together on this key vote for the leadership, but some of them are not that excited about the trade agreements, and so you might lose a couple of Republican votes. But I think these Democrats are probably fairly solid.
And once it gets through the Senate, we're not entirely sure when that's going to be, because as we mentioned, it's really going to come down to the amendment process and how long that takes. But should it not get accomplished before the Memorial Day recess, the House and Senate both go on Memorial Day recess at the end of next week. So should they not get that accomplished before that Memorial Day recess, this has got to be something they're going to be picking up right away in June, isn't it?
Yeah, you can expect to see this very quickly in June, because the administration really wants to get this out of the way so they can wrap up the Trans-Pacific Partnership Agreement, and they need some very important concessions out of Japan and Canada on agricultural issues. And passage of TPA would probably start those dominoes to fall. It's, as we've said previously, it's very important to get this TPA, the Trans-Pacific Partnership Agreement, done as quickly as possible in order to trigger various timelines that are necessary to get it before Congress eventually, and not wind up too deep into the 2016 presidential campaign.
And shifting gears a little bit here on the Commodities Futures Trading Commission, leaning towards reauthorization, or leading into that process, I should say, saw some action in both the House and the Senate on that issue this week. And in the House, they were able to get a bill through, but it was without the support of the committee, the House Agriculture Committee's ranking member, Colin Peterson. And usually, ranking member Peterson plays ball with, with whatever chairman he's working with. What was it about this particular bill that he just decided he couldn't put his weight behind?
Well, essentially, this is the same bill that's gone through the committee before, and Peterson supported it before. It would roll back a number of Dodd-Frank regulations that were imposed in the wake of the 2008-2009 crisis. Peterson says that these changes, legislative changes, are no longer necessary, that the current commissioner, under the new chairman, is addressing many of these problems. There is a dispute ongoing with the European Union over regulating commodity exchanges. Peterson said that what this bill would do would undermine that. So that's not only does Peterson's lack of support create some issues for the bill in the House, although it would almost certainly pass on the House floor, it's almost certain not to pass in the Senate in this form, because of the likelihood that the Democrats would filibuster it there. So this bill has quite a ways to go yet.
So certainly quite a bit going on Capitol Hill this week in terms of agriculture, and will likely be quite a bit going on next week. And be sure to keep tuned to Agri-Pulse.com. We'll do our best to keep you informed. We appreciate those who visit our site and read our articles, and really just let us know what we can do to better serve you. And also, if you feel free to give us some feedback on these Washington Week in Review videos, Phil and I enjoy doing them, and we hope that you enjoy watching them. So feel free to shoot me an email and let me know if you have any suggestions or questions that you'd like Phil and I to tackle on that issue. Until next week, for Phil Brasher, I'm Spencer Chase. Have a good one.